adorer of a joy without a name. In her obscure cathedral of delight, the dim dwarf gods she offers secret rites, but vain, unending is the sacrifice. The priest, an ignorant maid who only makes futile mutations in the altar's plan and casts blind hope into a powerless flame.
Good morning. We're reading in Book 2, Canto 4, The Kingdoms of the Little Life. We had just started, so we're going to start at the beginning on page 132. We had just started, but they've asked me to go back to the beginning. So I'll just kind of review, say where we are in the story. Aswapati, King Aswapati is journeying through the inner world. And he is searching kind of for the key of Earth's change, Earth's transformation. And he began searching first in the kingdoms of subtle matter, those closest to Earth, our physical world. There he found kind of an ideal world of physical forms, of subtle physical forms. But he didn't find really the key to the changing of the earth life. So he continued on his journey. And in the last canto, Canto 3, he went into the life worlds. And that canto is called The Glory and Fall of Life. and it gives us an overview of all the life worlds. So it showed us a view of the highest life worlds touching heaven, kind of a divine life, and those fallen. And then in this canto, he begins kind of from the lowest end of these life worlds and explores those in greater detail. And just to review a little bit from the last canto, he brings us down where the life worlds meet. And then he says, this is on page 129, in the crude beginnings of this mortal world, that's our physical world, life was not, nor mind's play, nor heart's desire. When earth was built in the unconscious void, and nothing was save a material scene, identified with sea and sky and stone, her young gods yearned for the release of souls, asleep in objects vague, inanimate. And then on the top of the next page, he says, life heard the call and left her native light, overflowing from her bright, magnificent plain on the rigid coil and sprawl of mortal space. Here too the gracious, great-winged angel poured her splendor and her wit and her bliss, hoping to fill a fair moon. And then a little bit further down, about halfway down the page, he says, while the magic work was on its way, our ingenuous present questioned all. This mass of death and pain. What
A quivering, trepidant, uncertain world, born from that dolorous meeting and eclipse, appeared in the emptiness where her feet had trod, a quick obscurity, a seeking stir. There was a writhing of half-conscious force, hardly awakened from the inconscious sleep, tied to an instinct-driven ignorance, to find itself, and find its hold on things. Inheritor of poverty and loss, assailed by memories that fled when seized, haunted by a forgotten, uplifting hope, it strove with a blindness as of groping hands to fill the aching and disastrous gap between earth pain and the bliss from which life fell.
Thank you. Natural. Free, flame from which it fell, from which it came, but recall it clearly. When it stirs, strides, time back, Maria.
Ever seeks for something missed, hunts for the joy that earth has failed to keep. Too near to our gates, its unappeased unrest, for peace to live on the inert solid globe. It has joined its hunger to the hunger of the earth. It has given the law of craving to our lives. It has made our spirits need a fathomless gulf. An influence entered mortal night and day. A shadow overcast the time-born race. In the troubled stream where leaps a blind heart pulse, and the nerve beat of feeling wakes in sense, dividing matter sleep from conscious mind, there strayed a call that knew not why it came. A power beyond earth's scope has touched the earth. The repose that might have been can be no more. The formless yearning passions in man's heart The cry is in his blood for happier things. Else could he roam on the free sunlit soil with a childlike, pain-forgetting mind of beasts, or live happy, unmoved, like flowers and trees.
Thank you. So we see that this life pulse is kind of tied to matter, tied to the hunger. Seems maybe that when this influence is locked into that, that then was changed turned to the he met the page one. And explain her moon and all her glory into the littleness turned, and all her sweetness to feed death with her works is here light too. So veiled be that she seemed in consciousness on unconscious things and episode in an eternal death, a myth of being that must forever cease. Such was the evil mystery of her change. This plays as light touches matter, could not keep lid from which light came, turned by the inconscient into itself. The joy of the subtle matter was a very kind of bright existence in subtle matter. But again, when it touches the inconscious, everything changes, or something arises out of the inconscient, mixing life. So here he also brings it a little closer to the this yearning passions in man's heart. Happier. Satisfied just to have this uh, physical existence.
The might that came upon the earth to bless has stayed on earth to suffer and aspire. The infant laugh that rang through time is hushed. Man's natural joy of life is overcast, and sorrow is his mirth of destiny. The animal's thoughtless joy is left behind. Care and reflection burden his daily walk. He has risen to the greatness and to discontent. He is awake to the invisible. Insatiate seeker, he has all to learn. He has exhausted now life's surface. His being's hidden realms remain to explore. He becomes a mind. He becomes a spirit and self. In his fragile tenement, the gross nature of law.
Thank you. So we see that this struggling life brings not only kind of pain and suffering and sorrow, but it also brings this kind of aspiration, this growth towards a higher life. So it's also instigating the evolution of life towards higher forms. This also the seeking, even though a struggling, painful seeking, but a seeking for something more, something higher. And so it brings the evolution up to the level of humanity with a mind, and still it continues, and still the mind is then also seeking, joined in this effort. Yeah, he's talking about mankind, I think. Oh, oh, it's fostering, fostering more, in that sense of helping him towards revealing his higher destiny, helping. These lines are quite beautiful. The animal's thoughtless joy is left behind. Care and reflection burden his daily walk. He has risen to greatness and to discontent. He is awake to the invisible. So mankind is growing, developing, and now beginning to search the inner being. His being's hidden realms remain to explore. So he becomes a mind, he becomes a spirit and self. In his fragile tenement, he grows nature's Lord. It's really taking us through the whole development of humanity towards mastery of nature. So we go, Nitya.
In him matter wakes from its long obscure trance, in him earth feels the Godhead drawing near. An eyeless power that sees no more its aim, a restless hungry energy of will, life casts his seed in the body's indolent mould. It woke from happy torpor, a blind force, compelling it to sense and seek and feel. In the enormous labor of the void, perturbing with her dreams the vast routine and dead roll of a slumbering universe, the mighty prisoner struggled for release. Alive with her yearning woke the inert self. In the heart she kindled a fire of passion and need. Amid the deep calm of inanimate things arose her great voice of toil and prayer and strife. A groping consciousness in a voiceless world, a guileless sense was given her for her road. Thought was withheld, and nothing now she knew, but all the unknown was hers to feel and clasp.
Thank you. I don't have the line numbers. Alive, that line? Alive with. It's life, nature. Yeah, I think it's it could be just nature more in general, but life is closely associated. But in the enormous labor of the void, so that's, this nature kind of arising out of the void. I mean, that's also life that's kind of coming out. Yeah, when it's a little bit further down, when it says, alive with her yearning, woke the inert cell, suggests more life there, because it's life waking matter. he almost seems to kind of go back a step. He had been speaking of humanity becoming a spirit and self, and then he kind of steps back again and showing this kind of life entering into the body, just compelling it to sense and seek and feel. So he kind of reviews again and goes back a cycle and is showing the life arising in still, I think, humanity, but yeah, yeah, yeah. She's waking this inanimate existence. Would you like to continue?
Obeying the push and unborn things towards birth, out of her seal of insentient life she broke, in her substance of unthinking mute soul strength that cannot utter what its death divine, awoke a blind necessity to know the chain that bound her she made her instrument. Instinct was hers, the siles of truth, and effort and growth and striving nescience. Inflicting on the body desire and hope, imposing on unconscious consciousness. She she brought into matter dull and tenacity. Her anguish claim to her lost sovereign right, her tireless search, her vexed uneasy heart, her wandering anxious steps, her cry for change.
Thank you. Thank you for pausing. So in this kind of surge of life out of matter, here it seems to be kind of groping towards mind, towards this seeking for knowledge. It awoke a blind necessity to know. And at first, that kind of seeking is tied to the body, so it becomes instinct. Instinct was hers. Kind of a knowledge of what to do, but it's still kind of a unconscious knowledge, not fully self-aware. So it's holding within it something which has to emerge. Yeah, I think that's what he says. Yes, instinct was hers, the chrysalis of truth. So instinct holds within it a knowledge, but it's not a self-aware knowledge yet. When it fully emerges as the butterfly, then it will be a self-aware knowledge and truth. Why you say? So again, anyway, it's bringing into our life, certainly, this tireless search, her vexed, uneasy heart, her wandering, unsure steps, her cry for change. So we continue. Would you like to read next?
Adorer of a joy without a name, her obscure cathedral of delight to dim dwarfed gods, she offers secret rites. But vain, unending is the sacrifice. The priest and ignorant mage, who only makes futile the occasion of the altar's plan, and casts blind hopes into a powerless flame. A burden of transient gain weighs down her steps, and hardly under that load can she advance. The hours cry to her. She travels on, passing from thought to thought, from want to want. Her greatest progress is deepening need. Matter dissatisfied, she turns mind. She conquers earth with field, then claims the heaven.
Thank you. brings us back to that idea of this life searching for the bliss from which life fell from its higher planes. So it's a adorer of joy without a name. It can't remember. It has a sense of that joy is there and it's seeking for it, but it doesn't know exactly how to reach it. And then he has this beautiful image of this cathedral of delight. To dim dwarf God she offers secret rites. But vain, unending is the sacrifice. The priest an ignorant mage who only makes futile mutations in the altar's plan, then casts blind hopes into a powerless flame. Seems to be kind of a metaphor for the seeking of life for bliss and doesn't know how to find it, how to reach it. But yet the metaphor is quite interesting in itself because it may be quite real to life. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of implying that and as using that as his metaphor. Mm. Chrysalis. Nescience. And this traveling, like you mentioned, but also passing from thought to thought, from want to want. That's life here in our world, I think, in our lives. For greatest progress is a deepened need. It's humor, but it's also, yeah, I think, a fact, maybe. Yeah, progress is terribly important, but if we just pass from one thought to another or one want to another, it doesn't really lead us very far. But that's how we tend to progress. So when we become dissatisfied with all of that, then we start making some real progress. Well, we progress, yes. We can go in circles and still we make kind of a progress because it slowly spirals around and goes higher, but not very direct. Somewhere he, I think, might raise that possibility. Shall we continue? Nitya? I don't have the number. It's
insensible, insensible, breaking the work she has done. The stumbling ages over her labor pass, but still no great transforming light came down, and no revealing rapture touched her fall. Only a glimmer sometimes splits mind's sky, justifying the ambiguous providence that makes of night a path to unknown dawns, or a dark clue to some diviner state. In nescience began her mighty task, in ignorance she pursues the unfinished work, for knowledge gropes, but meets not wisdom's face. Ascending slowly with unconscious steps, a foundling of the gods, she wanders here, like a child soul left near the gates of hell, fumbling through fog in search of paradise.
thank you. So nescience is more an absence of consciousness, and ignorance is a partial consciousness, kind of a partial knowledge. So it begins from the inconscient. He uses inconscient and nescience quite interchangeably. Well, he uses it in a little more philosophical sense, usually, of a kind of a partial knowledge. in modern psychology, I hardly ever hear like a term like inconscience, but they use this subconscious or unconscious. Again, subconscious is, typically use that for anything kind of in the inner being. Again, Sri Aurobindo uses it in a slightly different philosophical way as being below mind. But modern psychology doesn't make much distinction between, let's say, the inner consciousness, the inner mind or inner vital, and the lower levels of awareness that are kind of arising out of the physical, which is closer to this subconscious. Yeah. Yeah, he seems to me to kind of jump a little bit ahead sometimes and then go back and restate kind of the earlier stages again. So he's done that a couple of times where he kind of even leads up to humanity, looking towards the inner being and the spirit, but then he goes back again and talks about this emergence out of matter and out. So, but in terms of this parallel, I would look at it a little bit different in that sometimes he's talking about something emerging within this frame of matter. Right? Like this life within matter, housed within matter, emerging out. And sometimes, also within that is a spirit, is a being that is emerging. But one kind of form of that is life. And the outer shell is matter. And way within is spirit, soul. So he talks about that life kind of pushing out, emerging, struggling out of matter, trying to become awake, entering into mind, becoming aware. But it's that, so there's a kind of another inner circle within life. But here that key term was something. He doesn't kind of identify it in a way. Something, what was the line? Something that wished but knew not how to be. Doesn't identify exactly what it is. But it's that inner spirit, actually, that's emerging out. And we talked about this, there's always progress no matter what. But in these last lines, he kind of gives us an image of this foundling of the gods. She wanders here like a child soul left near the gates of hell, fumbling in fog in search of paradise. It's like a child who's left by the mother, unwanted child left at the gates of hell. A foundling, yeah, the orphan. But we see he's still quite far from paradise here. He's still in the fog near the gates of hell. So, Ronnie, would you like?
Slow ascension, he must follow her pace, even from her faint and dim subconscious start. So only can earth's last salvation come. For so only could he know the obscure cause of all that holds us back and baffles God in the jail delivery of the imprisoned soul. Along swift paths of fall through dangerous gates, he chanced into a gray obscurity, teeming with instincts from the mindless gulf that pushes to wear a form and win a place. Life here was intimate with death and night, and ate death's food that she might breathe a while. She was their inmate and adopted waif. Accepting subconscious in dumb darkness reign, a sojourner she hoped not anymore.
Thank you. Yes, he's bringing us back to the story of Aswapati searching for earth's last salvation. So he has to come into this realm, into the very beginnings of the emergence of life, to find that secret. What is it that holds us back? We all strive for some higher life, but somehow we're always baffled in our attempts. It holds us back. Yeah, he brings back that image of that foundling, I think. Yeah. Not familiar with that. I'm not familiar with that myth, if you want to share. Last time we met, Nitya brought up this parable that the mother told about the four original gods, I don't know, light, truth, life was one. And then they turned into their opposites as they kind of had their independence. They turned into their opposites. So life became death. And so, and here we see this changed life becomes like this kind of struggling life and death together. Now they're joined as a pair. And so that's our existence, this life, kind of being like an episode in death, in the darkness, in the void. Life is just like almost like a wanderer here in this death. And so it's paired with death, has to eat death's food. Yeah. Uh, mm, mm. Yeah, I don't know offhand where that was. So I think we could continue. Would you like to read?
In this slow ascension, he must follow her pace, even from her faint and dim subconscious start. So only can earth's last salvation come, for so only could he know the obscure cause of all that holds us back and baffles God. In the jail delivery of the imprisoned soul, along swift paths of fall through dangerous gates, he chanced into a grey obscurity, teeming with instincts from the mindless cults that pushed to wear a form and win a place. Life here was intimate with death and night, and ate death's food that she might breathe a while. She was their inmate and adopted grave, accepting subconscious, in dumb darkness reign, a sojourner she hoped not any more. There, far away from truth and luminous thought, he saw the original seat, the separate birth of the dethroned, deformed, and suffering power. An unhappy face of falsity made true, a contradiction of our divine birth, indifferent to beauty and to light. Parading, she flaunted her animal displays, unhelped by camouflage, brutal and bare, an authentic image recognized and signed of her outcast, force exiled from heaven and hope, fallen, glorying in the vileness of her state, the grovel of a strength once half divine, the graceless queller of her beast desires, the staring visage of her ignorance, the naked body of her poverty. Here first she crawled out from the cabin of mud, where she had lain inconscient, rigid, mute. Its narrowness and torpor held her still. A darkness clung to her unaffected by light. There neared no touch redeeming from above. The upward look was alien to her sight, forgotten, the fearless godhead of her walk. Renounced was the glory and felicity, the adventure in the dangerous fields of time. Hardly she availed, wallowing to there and live.
Thank you. So here we have that shadow described quite vividly. It might be interesting just to, I'll read a little passage from the previous canto of maybe the lighter side of this shadow. It says 123 at the top. But here were worlds lifted halfway to heaven. The veil was there, but not the shadowy wall. In forms not too remote from human grasp, some passion of the inviolate purity broke through, a ray of the original bliss. Heaven's joys might have been earth, if earth were pure. There could have reached our divinized sense and heart some natural felicity's bright extreme, some thrill of supernature's absolute. All strengths could laugh and sport on earth-hard roads and never feel her cruel edge of pain. All love could play and nowhere nature's shame. That phrase here, this is quite interesting. The veil was there, but not the shadowy wall. That wall, perhaps we see those shadows on that wall, the darkened forms of these. Yeah. You're Canto, emerging as a child, and then suffering through all of these things. Yeah, here he's witnessing all of this, right? He saw the original seat, the separate birth of the dethroned, deformed, and suffering power. Hardly she availed, wallowing to bear and live. Availed, I think, able to exist. I don't know. Able is maybe the synonym. Huh? So I think we pause there for today. You have a question? Hmm. 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 I don't know about this adoption where you're getting that from. Oh, her adopted waif. But she's adopted here by death. Going down in order to come up. Somewhere to the window also like I don't remember the road to paradise. It's a shortcut to hell. So I think you, when you said that, you identified it with Savitri, I think. And in a way, yes, but in a way, life, or but in a way also the Divine Mother, the original power. Well, that's the reconciliation that's needed. Yeah. Well, here Aswapati is going. Yeah. Later she will. So we stop there.
A daughter of a joy without a name, in her obscure cathedral of delight, to dim dwarf gods she offers secret rites, but vain, unending is the sacrifice. The priest, an ignorant maid who only makes futile mutations in the altar's plan and casts blind hope into a powerless flame.
Thanks to Sri Aurobindo.